G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm just leaving Bathurst and I'm on the road to Oberon, and my ultimate destination is to get to the Jenolan Caves, and then from there to head back to Sydney, back through Lithgow. So I'm going on a bit of a round trip, but I've got hours ahead of me, so there's nothing holding me back, so I might as well do the most of what I can while I can. I've just been to Sofala, spent some time there. I've done 3 or 4 vlogs already, so this is probably my 5th vlog for the day. So the style of vlog that I'll do is a drive and chat, where I've got my phone recording the direction I'm heading, and as you can see, it looks like I'm storm chasing at the moment. There's this massive storm ahead of us, plenty of rain being dumped by the looks of it, and plenty of dark cloud, so we'll see how we go, but it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the vision of Jim's 5am Club, my YouTube channel, where I try and showcase and highlight the beauty of this country that we live in, and also overlay it with a message of empowerment of OPE, other people's experiences, in the form of book summaries. And today, the book that I'm going to summarise and bring you is entitled The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. And it's a book that talks about comfort zones and what we can do to try and achieve more in our lives by not getting too comfortable. And hopefully we can take some of these lessons and incorporate them into our daily schedules, into our skills portfolio, into the inventory of capabilities that we have to help us solve the many problems that we're going to have come our way through this complicated and complex life that we live. We're all going to have challenges, there's no doubt about that. That's the way things are designed for all of us. We're all going to get our portion, our doses of issues, and there's a car here setting up a speed camera, so I hope I didn't get picked up there, so it just goes to show. There are problems aplenty for all of us. So what I'll do is I'll continue along my merry way. I'll put on the demister just to take off a little bit of the fog on the window up the front there, and hopefully we can continue unabated. Looks like the rain's about to come, so enjoy the next few moments where we go through this storm, and hopefully we can learn a few points from this book. So the author kicks off the book with an interesting observation, that I guess we're all pretty well aware of these days, that we are living progressively sheltered, sterile, temperature controlled, overfed, under-challenged, safety netted lives, compared to how life was when I was growing up. The children of today have things a lot easier. I won't say a lot better, but I'll just say a lot easier than what previous generations had. And we can go on to say that regardless of how bad things feel and think that they are, our lives today are much better. The average person today lives a life which is much, much better than the kings of old. We have the ability to travel to every single country in the world. We can go and work in other countries. happen regardless of whether or not you're wealthy, unwealthy, educated, uneducated. There's no limits to the things that the average person in the world can do today as compared to what the average person could do generations ago. How lovely are these trees. So with that, comes advantage, comes privilege, but there also comes issues and problems. And the call to action from this author is that we need, wherever possible, to step away from the comforts of life and all the comforts that surround us in order to experience the wow what life can still offer us. Because life, sadly, can become quite boring if it's all beer and skittles all the time. A friend of mine once said that God showed his true love for mankind for creating variety, for creating change, for creating and allowing ups and downs, ins and outs, lefts and rights, whites and blacks, different shades of colours. He could have made everything exactly the same. He could have made every tree exactly the same shape. He could have made them the same height. He could have made them the same colour, the same texture. He could have made everything monochromatic. And yet, in his infinite wisdom, he decided to make things different. Different for us, so that we can experience life in all its colour, in all its glory, in all its beauty. And each person is created different. It's created uniquely different. There's not a person who's created who is exactly like you, like me. We are created different from each other, for each other. It's those differences that allow us to complement and supplement each other and to gel together and to socialise and to see the benefits and to receive the rewards and the fruits of communion together. So with all of that, the call to action is to try and do more with our lives, try and do more than what we're comfortable in doing, because being Christian isn't a call to comfort. You know that if you're called to a Christian life, you're going to be called to challenges, to difficulties. There's a camel here on the right. You see the camel? Is that real? Yeah, it is. It's a real camel. I thought it was a camel statue, but as I was going past, it was statuesque the way it was standing, but it was chewing what it was eating, which gave it away. So what we need to do, according to this author, is we need to switch into survival mode, and to stay in survival mode all the time, which means that we need to keep on changing. We need to keep on morphing. We need to keep on challenging ourselves to learn, to grow, to develop. Because if we're not learning the important lessons at the right developmental steps and stages of our lives, then chances are that we'll never pick up that skill, we'll never learn that lesson, and that lesson may become critical at a later time in our lives. So the first formal point to come out of this book from this author is the invitation to challenge ourselves to go through the necessary life hardships, the hard steps, the difficulties that life has in store for us, not because of any wrongdoing, but because of the love that God has for us, to to enable us to grow and develop and to become more fulfilled with achievement and doing things that we never thought were possible. We need to unshelter ourselves where possible, knowing that God's will be done. God's will be done, and to not shy away from challenge, but to push ourselves and to allow others, in terms of our elders, in terms of our parents, our leaders, who know our capabilities or know our potential, maybe better than what we do, because a lot of us are caught up in fear, uncertainty and doubt that is inherited, that is promulgated by the media, by schools, by our friends, our family, by different places, by different people. In some cases, it's provided to us to help us through love, but many of the times we misinterpret that message, and instead of taking it as a temporary piece of advice, we clutch onto it, we hold onto it for our entire lives, thinking and fearing the uncertainties and the doubts that may have been present at one point earlier in our lives, and thinking that it will be part of our lives forever. But the good news is that there are people out there who are achieving things all the time, and there are people who have been where we currently are and know what the reality is and know what the risks really are. And sometimes we overestimate the risk. We oversimplify the problems, and we get caught up with things that are going to hold us back, as opposed to allowing us to springboard forward and progress and grow step by step. So we need to, I guess, let go where possible of the shelter, and to understand that helicopter parenting, micromanaging from a manager's perspective, is causing tremendous damage, because all of us, what we want in our work lives is autonomy. We don't want our managers, we don't need our peers with their noses up our backsides. I remember one fellow once telling his manager that he's going to need to take a couple of weeks off work because he's got a big operation to do in hospital. And the manager said, "Well, what operation? What's wrong with you? You look fine." And he says, "I'm going to hospital to surgically remove your nose, which is in my backside." So he'd had a gutful of his manager's micromanagement and helicopter sort of management style, and told him once and for all to stop the management. Otherwise, he was going to get up and leave his job. And thank God he did, because the manager took it on board, and the relationship was better from that point on. So when we look back over our lives and over the previous generations, what we learn is that previous generations didn't face things like burnout. Burnout is something which is a fairly modern phenomenon. You just did things, you just grew and developed, and you enjoyed the process. You didn't want to hold back. But what's happening is that the mental issues and the emotional and the anxiety that we have today is, as much as I don't want to say it, quite unprecedented. This is the message that the author is telling us, that what we face today is unprecedented, and we we need to understand that less is more. So the less we have to do with managing our employees, the less we have to do with parenting our children, the better they're going to be, and the more capable they're going to be at doing their jobs and being the best version that they can possibly be, and being fulfilled in their work and in their careers. Because we've got to understand that sacrifice, that pain and suffering, making mistakes, having problems, all of those things are a rite of passage for each person at different stages of their lives. You know, the only way we can build physical strength, mental strength, spiritual strength, career endurance and stamina is by doing things over and over again, and doing it while it pains us, while it's hurting us, knowing fair well that it's giving us stamina, it's making us better, it's making us more capable at being able to deal with it in future. But by the same token, the author here is realistic and says that we need to find a balance between comfort and challenge. And hence why the advice is that we need to lean just outside our comfort zone. You know, there's no use trying to be too aggressive and by trying to take too big a bite, because what you'll do is you'll probably damage yourself. But taking decent bites and chewing as hard as you can to get through over and under those challenges. But we need to find a balance between the comfort and the challenge, and to learn to appreciate the things that you have, and to appreciate the challenges that you face. Because, as I say on most of my vlogs, nobody's been to the future, and nobody's had the same past as you have, or I have. Nobody's experiencing the same present. I am here, you are somewhere else, doing something different, interfacing with other people and experiencing something different. So we've all got different slivers that we have experienced and are currently experiencing in our lives, which will shape, will colour, will shade our world view, and it will be the glasses that we use to see the world and to address our problems and to deal with our problems. So we shouldn't shy away from them. We should embrace our lives and embrace what is happening, and know that it's happening to us, for a particular reason, and a particular empowering reason, not a negative reason. And to ask the right questions and to do it with satisfaction, knowing that this too shall pass, and this too will be a stepping stone that will help us at some later date in our futures to live a better, more wholesome and more productive life. The author also goes on to say how important it is to enjoy your own company and to enjoy being with yourself and by yourself, because loneliness or solitude are two different things altogether. Solitude is when you can live with yourself and enjoy your own company. You don't feel lonely when you're experiencing solitude. I'm driving by myself, I've got my radio off, and I'm enjoying my own company. I'm enjoying this drive. I'm enjoying delivering this vlog to an unknown audience. Maybe nobody will listen to it, but I'm just enjoying this moment. So you don't have to be with people constantly. You don't have to be with your partner all the time. You don't have to be in the office, with your children, with your congregation all the time. There's a time and place for everything. And sometimes we need to make the most of the downtime when we're by ourselves and to enjoy whatever it has to offer in that moment. The other thing that the author talks about is we need to once again balance solitude with community, and we need to have that balance and that virtual connection, virtual connectivity is not effective connectivity. It's a lot different seeing a person in the flesh and talking the person in the same room in front of you. It's a lot different to talking like that than to talking to somebody overseas. It's a different connection. It's a different vibe. It's a different moment, and not to get sucked into thinking that a virtual community is something to be highly valued. Yes, it has its place, but no, it's not the same as being physically connected to somebody where you can see them, touch them and feel them. The other thing that the author talks about is the importance of being one with nature, being able to connect with nature by going for a walk in the bush, going for a walk in the forest, and spending some time by yourself with the beauty of a natural environment, because that in itself allows you to connect, as we said, to yourself, and it also builds a bridge to connect with God as well. And it allows you to reinforce your unique and personal identity and your relationship with yourself and with God and with creation. So on occasion, the author here reminds us and encourages us to disconnect ourselves from comfort, from security, in order to make space. This is important. In order to make space for connection with ourselves and our Creator. The reason why we need to disconnect is to allow space. That is powerful. Sometimes we need to let go of people. Sometimes we need to let go of places in order to connect and to make space for others to come into our lives. Because if we're too crowded, if we've got too much happening, if we're too busy, then we're not going to have the ability to make space, to make time. I'm just coming into Oberon now for those who are interested, and to make space and time for those new people, or to make more space and time for the people who deserve more space and time in our lives. So the last point that the author makes on this vlog, this book summary, is that we need to ditch the unnecessary comforts and embrace traditional lifestyles where possible. So Goldman to the right, Jenolan Caves straight. So I'll go to Jenolan Caves. So to ditch unnecessary comforts. And I guess by living a Christian life, all Christians are asked on occasion to ditch their comforts, to fast, to spend money on fewer things, to share more of the things that they have with those who don't have things, to live a more humble and traditional lifestyle rather than to live in luxury and to live with obesity by overindulging in food, wine and all of those things. Here we go. Here's the town centre. So one of the things that the author encourages us to do is to be in contact, to be connected to our pasts, to our traditions, to our cultures, and to understand that we are a link in a long chain, a massive chain. For example, I'm a Christian, but I don't know who the first Christian convert was in my family. Obviously it was somebody. It started somewhere with someone or someones. Could have been 2 or 3 generations ago, could have been hundreds of generations ago. I come from a country that has a big tradition, a big Christian tradition. So we go here to Genola Caves, 50 kilometres from here, so I'll just keep on going. No access without pre-booking. There you go. Alright. I'll just drive anyway, and if I have to, I'll turn back. So what are we saying here? So what the author is saying is that comfort and convenience are necessary issues, are problems. And if you're too comfortable and if you're too convenienced, what it does is it doesn't allow you to live in survival mode, but it gets you just to loaf away, and to not activate your brain, activate your thinking, get you thinking, get you keep you alive, or enable you to be alive. What we're saying is we're breeding zombies. We're breeding people who don't think because they're far too comfortable and have far too many things in their life. And we have to understand that there's a difference between hunger and craving. A lot of people say that they're hungry. Oh, I'm starving, or I'm hungry. But all you're really experiencing is a craving. And we mustn't give starvation, or we mustn't belittle starvation by saying that you're starving when all you're doing is feeling a little bit hungry, or you're craving for something. Because by saying that you're hungry belittles the people in the world who are actually starving, who are actually hungry. Because most Western people, according to this author, have never starved, have never been hungry. It's only a figment of their imagination. It's just a use of the word. You know, to be hungry, to be starving means that you haven't eaten for days, and you don't know when the next time is that you're going to eat, and what you're going to eat, and whether you're going to eat. So it's all about being discerning with what you say and how you describe things to yourself and to other people, and to be more accurate with your vocabulary, because the accuracy and the richness of your vocabulary will end up being and establishing the quality of your lifestyle. And the last point that the author makes is to ensure that people hydrate, because in many cases those cravings come from being dehydrated, and to make sure that we exercise, we sweat it out, and that we blow those toxins out of our bodies and our cells through being discerning with what we eat, how we drink, how we exercise, how we sleep, and how we take care of ourselves. So there you go, another interesting book that we've just been able to go through. The 5th book summary for today. I've enjoyed this big drive. As I said, I'll probably be at home today doing nothing, sitting on the couch watching footy, but I far prefer to maximise my Sunday. I should have gone to church today, but there's a church service during the week, this week or next week, so I'll make sure I attend that. able to pick out another book summary to deliver, to pick out some key messages, and to vicariously take you on a lovely journey through the bush here on these wonderful country roads on this wet autumn day. And I hope you've been able to get something out of it. Something out of it. I normally get things out of each of the book summaries that I do. I don't think I've read a book where I haven't been able to join the dots and learn something new and see things, see life, see the slithers of life from somebody else's perspective, and gain, valuable insights that I can hopefully use to benchmark, to showcase, to baseline my view of the world, and to recalibrate how I see things, and to put perspective, a better perspective in terms of where I sit, in terms of my views, compared to where other people may sit based on their writings